welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today we are jumping back into Eclipse. We're going to be covering the next 2 chapters.
Yep, so chapters 3 and 4.
3 and 4 today.
Yes. Before we get too deep into things, just a reminder, you can find us on all of our social medias. They are linked below in the description. We would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and follow. We do have our Who Knows What Wednesday episodes, which are true crime and just kind of the weirder, more not book stuff. That's on Wednesdays. But if you are joining us on YouTube, we do have playlists created for both the Twilight book and the
I did it last time. New Moon book. Say that 5 times fast.
Yes. And we also have 2 YouTube exclusives. We have reactions to us watching Twilight as well as New Moon. And it is the first time for Jess to have seen both of them. Highly recommend you check it out. Otherwise, how do I quick summary the last one? Edward is a major grade A douche.
Yeah.
The
end of chapter 2 threw us into a spiral.
It was a rant. It was a much deserved rant and a PSA.
It was not good. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty much Edward won't allow Bella to go see Jacob.
So yes, summary, Edward not letting Bella see Jacob, going so far as to take the, I believe, spark plugs or engine out of her truck so she can't go see him. Yep. And so he's like, oh, slam the window if you don't want to, or close the window if you don't want me to come to your bedroom tonight. So Bella stomps upstairs. She slams out of the window, as she should, but then she's like, I'm just going to open it. And she opens it wide, and here we are.
Yeah, so we're not happy with either of them right now, really.
No, not happy with either of them.
Poor choices have been
made.
Poor
choices. It's fine. It's fine. No,
It's
it's not.
not. It's not. But chapter 3 is titled Motives. The chapter starts with Bella and Edward heading back home after spending the weekend with Renee. Thank God we did not have an actual chapter with Renee. I will say that. I would have been nuts.
There is a chapter with Renee at some point, though.
No.
I don't remember. I thought it was that trip. Maybe it was a different one.
I mean, we get a little bit of Renee, but not in detail, every day, how she is with Charlie. And
no, it's not that detailed. I just remember a part where Renee is like, Bella, are you guys okay? Because whenever he moves, you move, and vice versa. Okay, yeah. That's what I was remembering. Where I'm like, good on you for calling that, Renee, because that is concerning.
Yeah, but luckily, like Connie said, it's not much.
Okay, I was like, I swear we got some details.
It's some, but it's not much.
Gotcha.
Bella wasn't sad to leave Renee. She was actually relieved. I bet you were.
Yep. For those who did not watch our reviews of the Twilight book, Jess is not a Renee fan.
No.
Nor
will I ever.
No.
Bella says that Renee is so much more perceptive than Charlie, and it was making her very jumpy. Edward tells her that Renee, has an interesting and almost childlike mind, but very insightful. Phil was busy coaching most of the weekend and hadn't been around much. That morning, Renee and Bella went for a walk, and Edward hung back to work on his paper.
Yeah, instead of going in the sun all sparkle.
On the walk, Renee tells Bella that she is worried about her and Edward. They seem more serious than she thought. She says that there is something strange about the two of them. He watches her like he's about to throw himself in front of a bullet or something. Very protective. It's not necessarily bad, but he is very intense about it. So she needs to be careful. Quote, I feel like I don't really understand your relationship, like there's some secret I'm missing. End quote. Renee, this is not your relationship. If they have secrets from you, they have secrets from you.
I get that. Also, though, I do got to say she's on the right track here because, she's missing. The level that they're at knowing the background that we as the readers know, it makes sense. But like, if you saw that level in your
Yeah,
child, I'd be like, hey, what do I not know here?
I get it. But also, but out, not your relationship.
True, true. I mean, there's definitely that.
There are boundaries. When boundaries have been consistently crossed, it's just, you gotta firm boundary eventually.
Yeah, I think if they didn't have the history that they have, they being Renee and Bella, that conversation would probably be received a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas because we know that Renee was, like Edward says, the childlike mind, where she was the one more heavily reliant on Bella for the emotional regulation. Not healthy. Don't do that. Mm-mm. Like, maybe it would come across better, but I'm like, okay. I mean, Renee's right here. Like, I hate to say it, but Renee is right. Like, there is concerns here.
There are concerns, yes, but I think it's just the words that she used. Like, I don't really understand your relationship. Like, there's some secret I'm missing. Like, I think it's just the
It
words.
does come from a selfish sounding angle.
Yeah.
I think there was a better way for her to go about that. That's like how she, here it is. She's treating Bella like a friend. Like, that's how you'd say it to,
Oh,
like, if I was saying this about my daughter and I was saying it to you, that's how I'd say
yeah.
it. But to my daughter, I don't think I'd phrase it that way.
No. That might be where it's bothering me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not coming across as the
No, it's
parent.
not.
No, no. But that's
Um,
in line with your character. So, meh.
yeah. Renee finally says that she's been being silly and laughs it off, then asks Bella to move back in with her. Bella just jokes with her and didn't actually answer her because clearly it's a no.
Yep.
Bella and Edward pull up in front of Charlie's house, and Bella was nervous to go in, but Edward tells her to not be. He won't be difficult. He missed her, which is so cute.
That is cute.
Charlie.
Oh.
Charlie held the door open as they came inside, and Charlie shouted, "Welcome home, kid," then asks about Jacksonville and asked if Edward had a nice time. They were getting along. Quote, "I really missed you, Bells. The food around here sucks when you're gone."
After the whole microwave episode in the previous chapter, yeah.
I can only imagine.
I can. How do you? I've heard of weaponized incompetence. I don't think that's what Charlie was doing, but that was bad.
That was not
That
good.
was. That should have ended in a house fire.
Yeah, it was close.
That was close.
Bella tells him she'll get Bella tells him she'll get on it to go make food. But Charlie stops her and says that she should actually call Jacob. He's been calling every 5 minutes since 6 a.m. And Charlie promised to have Bella call him before she was able to unpack. At that moment, the phone rang, and Charlie was willing to bet his next paycheck that it was Jake.
Oh,
Bella ran to the phone. It was Jacob. Quote, "It felt sort of like homesickness, this longing for the place and person who had sheltered me through my darkest night." End quote. Jacob demands to know why she didn't call him. Bella tells him that she just got home. Now, why is he harassing Charlie? Jacob pauses and asks if she's going to school tomorrow. She says, of course, then asks what he wants to talk about. Jacob says nothing really. He just wanted to hear her voice, but then abruptly says he has to go and we'll talk soon and hangs up.
how is she not picking up what he's really asking?
Right? I don't know. She is thoroughly confused by this. I'm like,
Did she not figure it out in this chapter?
I think someone has to point it out to her.
I was going to say, if not, I'm going to point it out right now while it's fresh in everyone's mind. What Jacob is hearing from Charlie is, oh, Bella and Edward went on a trip to go see Renee. And in Jacob's head, he's like, oh my God, going to turn Bella. That's the cover story, why she won't be around for a couple of days. And so he's asking, are you going to go to school? Like, can you go be around humans or are you going to, suck the blood out of them? So, like, wow, sometimes she's smart, but she's dense. Actually, smart, maybe.
Might be going a little far.
Too high of praise after this last chapter.
Yeah. So Edward comes over and asks if everything's all right. Bella was confused and didn't know what that was all about. Edward tells her her guess is better than his. Bella thought long and finally came to the realization that he was checking in to make sure that she was still human. Never mind, she did figure it out. I thought it was later. They'll have to leave in order to turn her, and they won't be able to come back. Charlie interrupts and asks if he should order a pizza, but Bella says no and went to work on dinner. The next day, Edward asks if he asked her to do something, would she trust him? We're also gonna just get this close by.
Yeah, after this stunt he pulled in the last chapter.
This one's not nearly as bad.
Yeah, but like the gall of him to say, like, will you trust me?
After what you pulled?
No. No, I wouldn't trust you with nada. I wouldn't trust you with roadkill. In this case, I really wouldn't trust you with roadkill. Like,
yeah. So Bella says it depends. Edward was afraid of this and pulls into his parking spot and tells her to stay in the car and wait for him.
his parking spot at the school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hell kind of a high school has parking spots.
Well, his usual parking, like where he parks every day.
Yeah, how
It's
do you
not
even get
his,
that?
but, I don't know.
Unrealistic. You gotta fight for those spots.
Bella then spotted Jacob and the calm mask that he had on his face. He was determined to keep his emotions under control. Edward tells her that Jacob was asking about school last night because Edward would be with Bella and Jacob was looking for a safe place with witnesses to talk to Edward.
Smart.
Yeah. Bella tells him that she will not stay in the car. Good.
No, sorry. The red flag is up, but that's because I talk with my hands.
Yep.
Good.
We're just keeping it close by.
Yeah, I got to put down. I'm going to whack everything with it.
Edward groans and says, of course not. Let's get this over with.
Oh, he didn't lock her in the car and drive off? I'm actually surprised. That was, I was expecting that.
Edward stopped a few yards from Jacob and pulled Bella halfway behind him and tells Jacob that he could have called. Quote, sorry, Jacob answered, his face twisting into a sneer. I don't have any leeches on my speed dial.
Okay, I can appreciate that. Again, doesn't sound racist as when Edward calls him a dog.
It really doesn't.
No. Oh, also, we didn't even talk about this in the last chapter. And when we talked on that, Edward's white, Jacob's native. I think that's the other. And again, the racial context of like dog and mutt and all that, but like, yeah, the optics aren't great there.
It's not.
Nah.
Edward tells Jacob that this isn't the place. They can discuss things later. Quote, sure. I'll stop by your crypt after school, Jacob snorted. What's wrong with now? End quote. I love Jacob, if you can't tell. Edward tells him he knows why he's here. Message delivered. We are warned. Oh, this is another thing. I'm going to keep this up because Edward, oh boy. Jacob was in disbelief when he discovered that Bella didn't know about the incident.
Do not keep important information from your significant other.
Emmett crossed the line on Saturday. The line. Edward hissed that this was no man's land. Paul did something, but they didn't fight and no one got hurt. Quote, Jacob was staring at us with incredulous eyes. You didn't tell her anything at all, did you? Is that why you took her away? So she wouldn't know that? But Edward cuts him off and tells him to leave. Jacob doesn't move and asks why he hasn't told her. Bella didn't need Edward to answer. She pieced it together. Edward didn't want Bella to know this, and Jacob wouldn't have kept it from her. I'll just let you figure out which one's the red flag and which one's the green flag there. Something caused both the Cullens and the wolves to be in the woods very closely, and this caused Edward to insist that they go to Florida, and something that Alice saw in her vision that Edward lied to her. Victoria was back.
Screw you, Edward.
Yeah,
Screw you.
don't lie about big things to your significant other.
Oh, you know, Edward's the type that if you brought this up, like, why would you lie to me about that? I didn't lie to you. I just
Manipulation.
I didn't tell
gaslighting.
you. I just didn't tell you. You know, it was a good time to go down. It just happened to work that way.
Yeah.
Take a flying leap at a cactus, okay?
Bella panics and Edward holds her and asks Jacob if that answers his question. Jacob believes that she still has the right to know because it's her life and she is tougher than he thinks.
Go, Jacob. Go, Jacob.
Go, Jacob.
Screw you, Edward. I'm going to get t-shirts made.
Screw Edward.
Screw Edward. Not that way.
Go, Jacob.
Go, Jacob. Go, Jacob. Edward, jump at a flying cactus. Flying cactus? Fly at a cactus. Jump at a cactus.
Hug a cactus.
Hug a cactus. Cover yourself in lemon juice and hug a cactus.
Ow.
I gotta get creative. I can't be doing as much swearing here, so.
I know. We're trying to get better. It's for future.
We're doing our best.
Edward winced, but smoothed his expression with little effort. He couldn't quite hide the agony in his eyes. I glanced, wide-eyed, from Edward's grimace to Jacob's sneer. What are you doing to him? I demanded. It's nothing, Bella, Edward told me quietly. Jacob has a good memory, that's all. Jacob grinned, and Edward winced again. Stop it, what are you doing? Sure, if you want, Jacob shrugged. It's his own fault if he doesn't like the things I remember, though. I glared at him, and he smiled back impishly, like a kid caught doing something he knows he shouldn't by someone who he knows wouldn't punish him.
You know he's thinking about that kiss, basically, that was in the kitchen.
In the movie, it was a kiss. Not a great kiss, but like, oh, the buildup was there, and the whole, oh my gosh.
Yeah, to make it an almost kiss, you would have need to have had another inch or two between those lips. Like,
their lips touched.
Yeah.
Their lips touched.
Again, if you would consider it cheating, if your significant if your significant other did it, it's a kiss. Go, Jacob. Go, Jacob.
Yes, I love that part. That's why I was like,
do that. Imagine further scenarios. Normally, I'm like, don't do that if the other party's not consenting. But in this case,
and
I'm
I
like,
wonder if that's what he was thinking about.
Oh, I'm sure he was. He was probably like, how would that be if that went further? Do it. Yep. Use your imagination. It is a tool of torture. It's
for Edward.
It is well deserved after the BS he has pulled.
It is. So Jacob points out that Edward is a little overprotective and asks if she is allowed to have fun. Jacob tells her that he still has her motorcycle in the garage. He couldn't sell it like Charlie asked because, well, it's not his. So he's holding it for her until she gets back. Jacob continues to tell her he thinks he was wrong and maybe they could still be friends if she came over to see him. Bella didn't know. Jacob tells her it's not the same without her and he misses her every day. Bella starts to apologize, but Jacob shakes his head and says it doesn't matter though, right? He'll survive. Bella felt the need to protect him, but Edward had her arms pinned still from holding her, which, Yep.
Just so you know, if you feel like you have to physically restrain your significant other from being with somebody else,
they're not really yours.
Not really yours, and also, what's wrong with you? Heavy on the what's wrong with you? Yeah. Again, I'm in Edward's situation here.
Yeah.
Especially because it's so clear, unfortunately, that Bella is choosing him. So, like, Edward doesn't have to worry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, by this point, a group of people have gathered to watch them. And the principal came to break it up and get everyone to class. The principal asks Edward if there's an issue. Edward says no and tells him to get to class. He then asks if Jacob is a new student. He says no, and the principal tells him to leave before he has to call the police.
Sorry, I'm just imagining Charlie showing up to that.
I know, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, call the police, see what happens.
Call them, get the popo here. Let's see how this goes.
Jake, what are you doing here? Do you want to come over for coffee? Let's chill.
Yeah, I've been called to arrest Edward. Oh no, Jacob. No, Edward. Got it. Edward.
I see that too.
Cuffs.
So Jacob agrees. Quote, Mr. Cullen, I expect you to ask your friend to refrain from trespassing again. He's no friend of mine, Mr. Greeny, but I'll pass along the warning. End quote. They then take off for class, Edward leading Bella. Bella needed to talk to Edward immediately, but Mr. Greeny was following them so close, and once in class, she started to write a note telling him to stop protecting her and tell her everything from now on. She then passes it to him. So he tells her Alice saw that Victoria was back, and so Edward took Bella out of the state for a precaution. Emmett and Jasper almost got her, but she got to the Quileute boundary. Alice can't see the wolf's involvement. They could have maybe got her if they didn't get in the way. The gray wolf, Paul, thought Emmett was over the line and got defensive. Rosalie reacted and everyone stopped the chase of Victoria to protect their companions. Jasper and Carlisle were able to calm things down, but Victoria was gone. Bella shuddered at the thought, and Bella asked about Charlie. Victoria could have been after him, but Edward shook his head immediately. Bella continues to write that he doesn't know that she wasn't thinking about that. Florida was a bad idea. They talk back and forth for a while, and Bella tells him that he will tell her next time.
Good.
He sighs and nodded. Just then, the paper all of a sudden disappeared, and the teacher asked if there was something that Edward wanted to share. Edward, pretending to sound confused, asked his notes. The teacher then looked down at his perfectly written notes, frowned, and just walked away. The one class Bella didn't have with Edward was calculus. And you're going to love this.
I hated pre-calc.
Oh, not calculus. I didn't know.
No, I didn't make it to calc, thankfully.
I didn't either. But during this class, she overheard, quote, and this is a direct quote, don't come for me. My money's on the big Indian. End quote. It was a group of Tyler, Mike, Austin, and Ben.
Yeah, I knew Mike was going to be involved in this, and I expected Tyler.
Yeah. So don't come for me. That was a direct quote from the book. Take it up with Stephanie.
Mm-hmm.
They were deep in conversation. Mike, sounding pleased, asked if they saw Jacob. He thinks he could take Cullen down. Ben disagrees. There's just something about Edward. He can take care of himself. He's always so confident. Tyler agrees with Ben and adds if Jacob messed with Edward, his brothers would also get involved. Mike asks them if they've been to La Push recently because Jacob's friends are just as big as he is. Tyler is disappointed that this morning didn't turn into anything. Austin chimes in that it didn't look like it was over. Maybe they'll be able to see something later.
Don't think you'd like that, boys.
Austin chimes in, or not, I just said that. Mike suggests that they bet on it. Austin puts 10 on Jacob. Tyler and Ben have $10 each on Edward. And then Mike puts 10 on Jacob.
Mike's like, screw Edward.
I love that Mike turned into Team Jacob.
I do too. Honestly, Mike, you have had growth as a character.
I like it.
You know who has not had growth and has actually regressed?
Edward.
Yes.
Bella.
And Jessica. Yes,
Jessica.
Most. The only ones that I'm like, no, you guys are doing good is Angela, Charlie. I think that's it.
So Austin asks if they know what they were fighting about. After all, that might change his answer for who to bet on. Mike says he can guess, then looks at Bella, and the rest of them follow his gaze.
Yeah, Mike, you know something about that, won't you?
Oh, but awkward date.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was the one thing I didn't like how the movie handled. That part was weird,
Oh, it was
making
weird.
Jacob like randomly mad at that. But in the book, that scene, like that entire chapter
Yeah.
of the movie, great, phenomenal, entertaining. Bodily fluids, not those. Not those.
Not those ones. But
Stomach
the
fluid.
book was so much better.
Book was so much
Don't
better.
make Jacob randomly angry at Mike. He didn't do nothing, and
No,
that's not who Jacob is.
it's not. I think that's what bugged me. I'm like, no, Jake is emotionally intelligent for a 15-year-old.
He is. He is.
16. 16 now.
16.
Yeah.
Quote, from their expression, none of them had realized I was in easy hearing distance. They all looked away quickly, shuffling the papers on their desks. I still say Jacob, Mike muttered under his breath.
Oh, we like Mike.
Oh, that was end of chapter 3.
End of chapter 3. Oh, I love that.
Oh,
Which is funny because it really is just coming from not liking Edward because
I know.
he was so against Jacob in that date scene.
Yep.
Like, I honestly think that might have been one of my favorite chapters of the entire book. New Moon. Yeah, that
the movie.
The movie one where like it was comedic, it was cute. I don't think, oh no, we got mentioned about Edward at the very end, but like my favorite. And I was looking forward to that in the movie, and they didn't do it.
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
Any other final thoughts on chapter 3?
no, let's power us through to chapter 4.
Chapter 4 is titled Nature. Bella was having a bad week, even though nothing has really changed. Graduation was a few weeks away, and all Bella could think about was it was too dangerous for her to be a human, but no one would listen. Carlisle and Esme assured her that there's 7 of them. Victoria doesn't stand a chance.
Victoria, the Volturi. Like, yeah, I get Victoria is an imminent, but you know what's a arguably bigger issue? Volturi. Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah, but they all think it's going to be years before they come anyways, so.
Yes, because Arrow definitely gave the impression that he wouldn't just do a sneak attack. No.
No,
No.
never.
No.
Emmett tells her he's happy that Edward didn't kill her because everything is so much more fun with her around.
Oh, Emmett said that. I thought you said Bella said that. I'm like, say what?
No, Emmett said that.
Okay, that tracks with Emmett. Okay, we like Emmett.
Alice rolls her eyes and said she's offended that she's actually worried about Victoria. Bella asks if it wasn't a big deal, why did Edward make her leave? Quote, haven't you noticed yet, Bella, that Edward is just the teeniest bit prone to overreaction? End quote.
Spoken like a true brother.
Jasper silently calmed her down and took control of the emotional atmosphere, but that ended when Edward came in.
I don't like that Jasper does that.
I get that he's trying to be helpful, but people need to, that is actually a good thing. People need to feel their feelings and not be masked by things.
Yeah. I will say it was
To a point.
To a point. It was helpful in Midnight Sun, which is the retelling of Twilight by Edward.
But then that's also a good point. Like sometimes you need that intervention to help you get back to a good place.
Yeah, well, it was in the crisis when they think they know that Bella's gone to meet James because she's dumb. She's operating under anyway. But so like Jasper had to like repeatedly like touch Edward to make sure he didn't go absolutely feral and like tear through Phoenix just in the open air.
Yep.
So like it's good then, but any other time whenever I hear that Jasper is using his ability, it just feels manipulative and I don't like it.
I did appreciate it in Twilight when they were in the hotel and he was keeping the calm presence so she could sleep. Not the one where he'd like was going to shut her eyes and make her sleep. Not that one, but like trying to soothe things over for her. Like
I get that.
I get that one,
I
but
get that one. It's just, it's
him constantly doing it though.
that's what bugs me, where I'm like, it just feels so slippery slopey, because like it basically gives you the ability to control people.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I'm like, if y'all haven't picked up on this from any of our, episodes about serial killers and all that, or, our most recent episode on chapter 1 and 2, in which we lay into Edward justifiably. We're big proponents of bodily autonomy here, in that, like, do not manipulate, do not physically confine, or, guilt emotionally confine. Don't like it. So Jasper and Edward are on my list right now.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So for Bella, today was the worst day yet because Edward left her to go hunting with Emmett and Jasper. Bella went back to her room and saw a note from him. Quote, "I'll be back so soon that you won't have time to miss me. Look after my heart. I left it with you." End quote. I put vomit after because I had that same reaction, Connie.
That reaction wasn't even for show. Like, on the, like, that was the honest, visceral.
I had the same feel. I felt sick reading that. I was like, no.
I'm feeling the pickles in our stomach from before eating this. Don't take that in. Literal pickles. Delicious pickles.
Delicious pickles.
Garlic, dill, not pillows.
Take two.
Take garlic, dill, pickles. So good. But like,
they're so good.
They turned in my stomach at that.
Yeah, I think that's the worst quote that I've done so far. Like, in my notes, I think that's the worst one because I actually put vomit underneath it.
I handled the breath quotes better than that.
You did. Yeah.
We're not very romantic PDA people, aren't we?
In the right kind of book, but like, this is like
good point.
This reminds me of, do you know why I vomit? Oh my gosh. For those of you that don't watch our Wednesday episodes, I get it. I do. But real quick. You know where I'm going with?
Yeah.
Are Jeremy and Jasmine. That is what it's reminding of. And that's why I had that reaction.
Yeah, oh dear God. I think they did say something like that. For those who haven't checked it out, it is a 4-part episode of our Who Knows What Wednesday. So check it out. If anything, just for the absolute sheer oh my God of it all. It's not that grotesque or gory, all things considered. It's just more WTF after WTF.
Yeah, we do have trigger warnings for the parts that do have stuff in it. But
yeah, but like, it is exactly like what
that's
Jeremy
why I had that
would
reaction.
write to, oh dear no.
Well, glad I made that connection because it's been bothering me.
No, it's been bothering me. It would have bothered me prior to the recording of that episode, but like, no, I
just bad vibes.
No, and see, this is why when people are like, "Oh, does your husband ever write you poetry or cute poems?" Like, I've legit had people ask me that because I've been like, "Yeah, we've been together, a little over 9 years." They're like, "Oh, it must be so sweet," and I'm like, if my husband wrote me something, 1, I'd cry because that's sweet, but 2, I also would cringe a bit because if Johnny gave me that note,
I would think something is seriously wrong with my husband.
I would too. I'd be like, oh, invasion of the body snatchers. He's got a gun to his head. Like,
something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Ugh.
Maybe that's another code word we get to use in the future. Just like, oh, bye,
you
Jess.
have my heart.
You have my heart. I love you. I do. I don't know why that sentence is just so bad.
Oh, Connie. Okay.
Oh,
well, should we?
We should. Not the tangent I expected.
No, that did not expect that. Welcome to the chaos, everybody. This is the Chaos and Chaos Chronicles.
The navigating of the randomness. But hey, we linked it back to another episode. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good, especially for our Twilight episodes to link to a case episode. What?
I know. It's in one of the more messed up cases, just on the sheer scale of
Yeah, and that one is in our case playlist, by the way, if you guys want to go check that out.
You should check it out. Again, it's not like bad, but anyway, so
cringe.
back to
Yeah.
this.
So while the boys are gone, Alice tells Bella that Alice, will stay close to home to hunt. So let her know if she needs anything. This is more to keep Bella away from trying anything since Edward is gone.
I was going to say, yeah, I feel like this is more the watchful eye of don't go to La Push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she told her she's only going to be 15 minutes away from her.
And she can see once Bella makes a decision.
Correct. Bella left to go to work early. Once she arrived at work, Mike's mom told her that she forgot to call her off since it was so slow today. Mike tried to tell his mom that she should be able to work if she wants to, but Bella just tells him that that's okay and takes some flyers for his mom to go to the dump into the trash can.
Oh, just realizing, by the way, New Moon never showed Bella having a job. The movie
It
never showed
didn't.
it. Yeah.
Oh.
And like it just skipped over all of that and it went right from like her being sad, depressed to all of a sudden she's at Jacob's house with motorcycles, like left out all of that other stuff.
I guess granted, for the things you gotta cut,
Yeah.
it's not that important.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bella looked down on the way outside and saw a flyer titled Save the Olympic Wolf. Bella took off running to her truck and thought 15 minutes was all she had, and it was only 15 minutes to La Push. She would cross the boundary line in a few minutes before that, too. There's no way Alice could see this because she wasn't planning on it. So Bella took off and was able to make it to Jacob's house. Jacob gasped when she was there. He couldn't believe that she was there, and Bella tells him that she snuck out. Billy greeted her from the doorway, and Bella tries to say hi back, but at that moment, Jacob grabbed her in a hug and swung her around, taking her breath away.
Aww. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just imagining him as like a big happy golden retriever right now.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
And like that's sweet. I'm also just realizing it literally is the black cat versus the golden retriever. That is what this is coming down to.
Yeah.
And Bella is just I don't even know what we call her.
Oh, Bella.
Hamster? Gerbil?
So, yeah, Jacob puts her down and tells her welcome back. Bella thinks that the way he says it sounds like welcome home. Jacob and Bella started walking and catching up. Bella told him about the wolf flyer and he started laughing. Jacob's face turns hard and bitter and asks what the story is. Are things back to being like the way that things were before he left? Had she forgiven him for all of that? Bella tells him that there was nothing to forgive. Jacob tells her he wished Sam would have taken a picture of her when he found her in the woods. It would be Exhibit A.
Yeah. Bella, there is down bad, and then there is whatever you have is like pathological. Like,
It's,
woo.
yeah. Bella tells him that if he knew the reason why he left, not even Jacob would blame him. Jacob tells her to amaze him, and Bella tells him that they left because he didn't think that she should be with vampires and thought that she would be better off without him. She leaves out the part about Jasper, though.
Yeah, I mean, know your audience. Probably best to leave it out there.
Jacob was taken off guard and eventually mutters, quote, "He came back, though, didn't he? Too bad he can't stick to a decision." End quote. I'm with you, Jacob. I am with you on that one.
We are all with you on that one.
Bella points out that she was the one to go and get him, and Jacob asks her to tell him why she did that anyway. Bella warns him that it's a long story, but Jacob doesn't mind long stories and asks if there's any action. There's a little.
Un po, a little bit.
Bella starts to tell the story with the facts that he already knows about, like Alice's abilities. Jacob is gleeful to get assurance that Alice can't see werewolves, then apologizes for interrupting. Bella continues and tells him everything, but not too specific, and didn't reveal the promise that they had to make in order to leave.
Yeah, also a good know your audience there, but also like you're not giving all the info. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky.
It's tricky. Like, eventually he's going to have to find out.
Yes, but given how tentative it all is right now, I feel like giving that piece of information could spark a war.
I'm not saying say it yet.
Oh no, she definitely needs to say it at some point.
Yeah.
I'm like, just because someone in the comments would be like, "Oh my god, you were totally, bashing Edward for not sharing all this," and now you're like, "Oh, it's okay, the Bella's not." I'm saying like, look, big difference here. Edward's doing it in a patronizing way, and Bella's doing it in a like, I will tell you this information, but I'm not telling you it now because the ground is unsteady and it's more than just like one person that's involved in this. Yeah. So before you hate on us, we're not that hypocritical on this.
Bella then tells him it's his turn. Catch her up on what happened while she was gone. So Jacob, Embry, and Quill were on patrol running, and then they caught the trail of Victoria. Sam wanted them to wait for him, but Jacob didn't know that Bella was gone and didn't know if she was with the bloodsuckers or not. So they took off after her. She crossed the treaty line, and they spread out along the line, hoping that she would come back over. They ended up too far south, and the Cullens chased her back to their side a little north of where they were. It would have been a perfect way to catch her, and if they knew where to wait. I made a note, and it came back in my head. Why can't they just work together to catch Victoria? This is so frustrating.
Yes. No, it's going to continue to be frustrating for a while. Yeah, no, I remember thinking that at the time. I was like, guys, like, I know you got some issues, but
you got, I know you're enemies, but you're enemies who have a common enemy.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And you have someone between you two that you mutually both like.
Yeah.
And you're trying to protect.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
get rid of her and then go back to being enemies.
Yeah, her, Victoria.
Yes. Well.
I feel like I remember seeing a little like Twilight exploratory video on this where it's the girl who goes into like all the lore. You've definitely seen her videos. But it was something about like it was built into like their DNA because the vampire venom is so venomous. And like, did you get to the whole legend of the first werewolf in the Quileute tribe yet?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. That must come later in this book then because it explains it a bit more. So it's like it really is like a genetic like jump to a dislike.
Oh, yeah. No, didn't get to that.
Yeah, no.
Huh.
And like the genetic part that I don't think that gets explained in the book, but people like explained it outside of it.
Okay.
So that's part of it, but it doesn't mean it's any less frustrating. So
no. But so this is when things got dicey with the groups here. Sam and the others caught her before they did, but she was on the line the whole time. Then the big one, Jacob asks what his name is, and Bella says Emmett. He continues, he lunged for her, but Victoria was so fast that he flew right behind her and almost rammed into Paul. And well, you know Paul. He lost his focus. Emmett was right on top of him, and he sprang. Don't get mad at him. They were on werewolf land. But Paul missed and went back. He went back on his side. Then the blonde, and Bella interjects Rosalie, got real territorial, so Sam and Jacob moved to Paul's side. Then the leader and the other blonde, Bella interjects Carlisle and Jasper. Jacob tells her that he doesn't really care, but which doesn't really matter at this point. He's trying to tell the story. And I will say, I didn't add this, but Bella was getting mad at him for interrupting her, and she's doing the same thing. So, but Carlisle spoke to Sam and tried to calm things down. Suddenly and weirdly, everyone calmed down so fast. It was the one that Bella told them about, the one messing with their heads, but even though they knew that, they couldn't not be calm. It's really annoying. You can't be annoyed until afterwards. So Sam and, quote, the head vamp, I had to add that in there. I love that. Agrees that Victoria is the priority. Carlisle then gave the line so they could follow the scent, but she went to the cliffs and took off in the water again. The big one, Emmett, wanted permission to cross the line and go after her, but they said no. Bella's glad that things are okay, and Jacob asks what story her vampire told her. Edward told the same story, just not as in depth. Jacob stared across the waves, and Bella asked what he was thinking. He was thinking about what she told him and points out if she had just waited for him like she was supposed to, Alice wouldn't have been able to see her jump and nothing would have changed between them. They would probably be in his garage now, just like a normal Saturday. There wouldn't be any vampires here, and the two of them...
He doesn't know that Bella had made the decision in that moment of like, I'm not going to turn my head to him.
She was undecided. Remember?
Yeah, but wasn't there that moment like right before Carlisle's car showed up where
She wanted him to come back because he turned because she stiffened because of something, and then because Edward popped into her head.
Yeah.
Jacob took that as a no, and then she's like, wait, I want you to come back.
I forgot that part. Got it. Yeah. I thought she had just left it at no. Oh.
No.
Maybe that's why I think I'm crossing the movie with that.
And then in the actual one in the kitchen, she's like, I need to be happy, blah, blah, blah. She was going to. So Bella tells him Edward would have come back anyways. Jacob asked if she knew that Sam was mad at her. He just wanted to change the subject. Sam thought that she was the one person with as much reason to hate the Cullens as him. He feels betrayed that she just let them back in her life like nothing happened. I want to know, what do we get to find out why Sam hates the Cullens so much? Like, I get they're vampires, but like...
I think if I remember correctly, because Bella knows now like the theory of why the werewolves are back, right? Okay, so they're back in response to the Cullens being there.
Oh, and so he's mad because
Sam was the first to turn. So like his life was normal.
That makes sense.
And then he's had since, everything that happened with Emily.
Fiance.
Yep, hurting her, and like their entire lives have turned around. And so he blames them like awakening based on the Cullens coming back.
That makes sense. I was just like, there's something I'm missing out on here, so thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be pissed too if like someone came back to town and like I didn't know the legend, or I thought it was just like, okay, grandpa.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like my entire life, everything I've worked for, all my plans, it's just completely put on hold because of someone else. I'd be like, oh yeah. Flying cactus again.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, I can see that. So Bella couldn't believe what Jacob was saying. Bella was about to snap back, but Jacob interrupted her and pointed out an eagle fishing and says, nature taking its course, hunter and prey, the endless cycle of life and death. But yet you never see the fish trying to kiss the eagle. Bella suggests the fish may have been trying. It's hard to tell what the fish was thinking. Eagles are good-looking birds.
So remember that analogy I made about Black Cat and the Golden Retriever? I do feel like it's hamster for Bella because cats will eat hamsters or mice, but dogs will sometimes just love them. So she's a hamster. Not in the cute way, in the...
So, in a sharp voice, Jacob asks if that's all it comes down to, good looks. When she says no, he asks money. Bella gets up and turns her back on him. He tells her to not be mad. He's actually trying to understand. Quote, I love him, not because he's beautiful or because he's rich. I spat the words at Jacob. I'd much rather he weren't either one. It would even out the gap between us just a little bit because he'd still be the most loving and unselfish and brilliant and decent person I've ever met. Of course I love him. How hard is that to understand? End quote. Oh, Bella.
She just murdered Jacob. And also, Bella, her glasses are not even rose colored. They are just like straight up red. Like she is colorblind. Colorblind. She flags. She doesn't see green or red. She sees flags, and she thinks everyone has flags. And this book is going to go real long if I voice every opinion I have on both of them. So I'm going to just hush and we'll finish out the chapter. But woo, just know there's opinions.
The flag will say it all. Jacob says it's impossible to understand. Bella asks to enlighten her. What is a valid reason to love someone? Jacob says starting with the same species usually works. I do love this one. Quote, Quote, well, that just sucks, I snapped. I guess I'm stuck with Mike Newton after all.
Yes, 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 yes.
Oh,
I love that.
So Jacob flinched, and Bella saw that those words hurt him, but she was too mad. Jacob points out in a low voice that he is human. Bella continues that he isn't as human as Mike is. Jacob says it's different because he didn't choose this life. And Bella defends Edward because Jacob doesn't know what happened to him any more than Jacob did. He didn't really sign up for it. He has no idea how good they are at their core. Jacob says they shouldn't exist. It goes against nature.
Pot kettle.
Jacob tells her what he is was born in him. Who his tribe is why they're still there, but he is still a human. Not a normal human, but still human. Bella agrees that he looks plenty human at this moment. Quote, I feel human. He stared past me, his face far away, his lower lip trembled, and he bit down on it hard. Oh, Jake, I whispered, reaching for his hand. This is why I was here. This is why I would take whatever waited for me when I got back, because underneath all the anger and all the sarcasm, Jacob was in pain. Right now, it is very clear in his eyes. I don't know how to help him, but I knew I had to try. It was more than that I owed him. It was because his pain hurt me too. Jacob had become a part of me, and there was no changing that now. End quote and end of chapter 4.
Thoughts on this chapter?
I mean, I'm glad she finally got to go and see Jacob. I don't like that she had to resort to that to go and see him. If you want to go see someone, you should be able to go see someone.
Yeah.
And just because they're the opposite gender doesn't mean anything. If you're in a loving, healthy relationship.
Yeah. It's also coming down to, again, he's basically caging her through Alice this time. It's not taking out the engine to her truck like before, but it's like, hey, you're free, but not really. We're watching you, and we're gonna know if you're gonna do anything. You know we're gonna know, so don't even bother.
Yeah.
Like, I just that's a red. That's a massive red flag.
Yeah. So I am not okay how Edward and frankly all the rest of them are going about that.
Yeah. I'm not thrilled really with anybody. Angela's the only one that's consistently been safe. And
Jacob.
Charlie, usually. Yeah.
I like Jacob. You leave out Jacob because apparently whatever comes, but I always include Jacob because he hasn't done anything to me yet.
Good point. I mean, he's not doing bad right now, and I do like how he is in this chapter. I do feel a bit like before was pretty harsh, but then I also remember he's a 16-year-old and like he's been thrust into all this. So I'm like, okay, like, it's better.
His whole
but
world just got turned upside down.
yeah, it does explain a lot more, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm glad they're having this moment to talk. I know it's not going to clear up everything, but we'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, for the rest of these chapters, I promise you the flags will stay.
Yeah. Because otherwise, we would have to go back to one chapter episodes, and we are not going to torture us that long.
No, we are not.
We are not going to torture ourselves that long.
You're not going to torture us that long. No, I think both sentences work.
Well, both work. I don't know. There's
Oh.
been too many lights, too many words.
Too many lights, too many words, a lot of stuff in a day. We record these at the end of the day most of the time now, so brain power's used elsewhere. Yeah. But on that happy note, red flag down, because not red flag on the Chaos Chronicles podcast. Just a reminder, please like, follow, and subscribe. We very much appreciate it. And you can find all of our social medias linked in the description below. If you have any comments on this episode about what you found was really good, really bad, if you think Eddie Boy can take a flying leap at a cactus, there we go. Now I got it in order. I was like, I had a way to phrase this. Here we are. Please leave it below. Again, reminder, no spoilers on the big stuff. Jess does not know anything beyond these 4 chapters, so just husha husha, please. I want her to be traumatized organically.
Every time you say, like, every end of episode that you're like, no spoilers, blah, 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 because Jess, blah, 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 I get more and more worried.
I just know when you get to it, you're going to be like, oh, Stephanie, flying leap at a cactus. Mm-hmm. I'm just waiting. Or maybe you're going to read it and be like, yeah, that makes sense. And I'll be like, oh, I misjudged.
She doesn't kill Jacob, right?
No, Jacob doesn't die.
Okay.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Does Edward die?
Well, he's already dead.
Well, like, you know what I mean? Like, gone for good.
I won't say anything because there's a lot that I want to say.
He dies again?
Yeah. Let's just say that there is there's some major things that happen, and some people die, but
Eddie
they
Boy.
don't. They do and they don't, and I can't say more than that right now.
That makes 0 sense unless everybody turns into a vampire.
No.
Like the whole town, just screw it, everybody. We're just going to turn everybody.
Change the name from Forks to... Maybe that one can make it in there. Yeah. No, not what happens, but girl, when you get there, you'll be like, what?
Oh, gosh. Well,
I gotta, You'll see.
Well,
You'll see.
We're already up to chapter 4. And how many chapters are in this? 27, 28 if we include the epilogue.
Oh, we'll be able to knock them out. I think 2 episodes, maybe even 3, 4 for some of the chapters you won't like.
Oh, am I going to condense them like I did the final 4?
I think you will.
New Moon?
Yeah. I think you will.
That's good to know. Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell by the lengthened episodes, what was it? Our last one for New Moon, it was like 4 chapters.
Yeah.
4 chapters in 1 episode, and it was like 38 minutes or something like that. Because I hated them, and I'm the one that takes notes, so.
Just dictates. I dictate the ramble. She just dictates the notes, which is why she's smart, and she puts in areas like chapter 2, leave extra room for ramble.
Yeah, I made that one extra short, because I was like, oh boy, we're going into this.
And we did.
Yeah, so go check that out if you haven't checked that out already.
Yes. But until then, we will see you next time.
Bye.
Adios. Yeah. This is one hell of a roller coaster I did not think that we would be taking in our late 20s.
Not a chance.